First of all, it was yesterday, but happy birthday to my daughter, Christy Jean Weldon Hawkins, down there in Gulf Shores, Alabama.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, darling. Love you, and hope you're doing well. And my little grandson, Lincoln Redding Coley, who's sick with an ear infection. So I hope he will get better. And we're here with the man of the hour, of the day, himself. That's right. No, not John Wayne. It is
John Wayne.
It is Eric Dempsey from Dempsey Resolution Fitness Hour. How you doing, sir?
Another day in paradise.
All right, all right. Well, we're looking, we're cooking, and the weather's being crazy. I'll tell you what, I can't believe we're already the 7th of November.
I know, it's insane.
It's just insane.
Time flies when you're having fun.
It does when you're having fun. So I'm going to get everything going here and on my end, and there we go. He's down here, and get that going on. I don't know about that.
Tommy Sharp says, "Hey guys."
Hey, how you doing, and Tommy? How you doing? Is that you said it's Tommy?
Tommy.
Tommy. Well, Eric, how is the? Are you getting lots of people in shape?
Lots of people in shape, and I'm learning new things every day.
So am I. Hey, Scout.
On week 3 of the current semester. Man,
school.
You know.
I'll tell you what, I thought I went to school a lot, but you were the man.
Well, I can't wait for it to end.
You know, it really does. It doesn't really ever end.
No, it doesn't. As long as there's continuing education credits required, there'll always be more courses to take. But always got to keep learning.
Well, and you know, stuff, and you know, one thing too, I know, like in my fields, I guess it is, it's things, you know, from legal stuff and political stuff and history and all that stuff. It is constantly changing. You know,
oh yeah, well you got to stay up with the times.
You got to stay up with the times.
That's the whole point of the continuing education system.
That's it. And I'm looking over here to see where. There we are.
Hey,
good.
Same outfits and everything. It's good.
Tommy, thank you. And we're going to share this to a whole bunch of people out there. And we hope everybody's having a great day. So let's just get right into the Dempsey Resolution Fitness Hour. And everybody's going to say, so I'm going to get on here and share this to some people on there. All right, so let's start out with starting an exercise program and hitting a plateau. Wow, do I know about that one?
Yeah, that's pretty common.
That's my middle name, Joe Plateau Coleman. I am the
undefeated
plateau.
champ. Yeah, undefeated plateau champ.
There it is. I do want to say that I'm a little proud of myself. We did go to the eye doctor yesterday. The doctor said that my eyes were awesome.
Wow.
Health-wise on that.
Man.
And then I beat the diabetes monster.
Oh, yeah.
And is that everything good enough there for you? Is that close enough?
Yeah, I think so.
Tommy said, "Did y'all ditch the radio?"
Did we ditch the radio? You mean the radio show?
Yeah.
On that? Tommy, we now know we moved here to do this now, and we are actually in the process. This is the Chad Paul Voorhees Ministry Center and Journalism Center on Moon Road, which is we have our own facility now, and we are in the process. We're in about a 60 to 90 day window, but we have made a deal to go on to get our own radio station, which we're going to be probably within, I'd say just after the first of the year, we'll start transmitting from this studio here on radio, live once again on that. So thank you for staying with us. Right now we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and a couple other mediums out there. But we will be going back to also doing a live radio show on traditional radio, probably just after the first of the year. So tell us a little bit about that exercise program, Plateau.
Yeah, so every time you start an exercise program or a nutrition plan, diet plan, whatever you want to call it, you know, you start something and you get big, you know, you're all excited, you get big hopes and dreams, and you jump into it. And right off the bat, in the first couple of weeks, you make some big stuff happen. And you notice some big changes, everything's going great. You start really, you know, adapting to the program, and your body's reacting to the stressors. So what happens is your body reacts to the stressors, and so it's like, wow, this new stressor is upon me. We have got to adjust and adapt to make this stressor go away, right?
Absolutely.
So your body adapts to it, and eventually it tries real hard to get you in such a position where it's no longer a stressor, right? It tries to shut off the red alert light. Because all your body picks up is stress or no stress. It doesn't pick up whether it's good, bad, or ugly. It just knows stress and no stress. Your body's trying to maintain a steady state as close to homeostasis as possible. And, so you're cranking it out the first couple weeks. That's what I call the freebie. That's where you get a whole bunch of progress, your numbers change, everything is really going good. Your body does a super dynamic freak out over the new stressors, and you lose a bunch of fat, start putting on muscle, start getting in better shape, your clothes start fitting better, start looking better, feeling better, performing better, and everything's going great. And then it just starts to gradually fade away. And so after the first couple weeks, it starts fading away as your body adapts. And then eventually, if you don't keep the routine advancing and progressing as far as being challenging, if you don't keep stepping forward with the nutrition and exercise, then what happens is your body just catches up. And once it adapts and actually makes the situation sustainable for your body, it's no longer a challenge. It's no longer there's no challenge, there's no stress. Like if you walk on a treadmill for 20 minutes at level 1 and you do the same thing for 6 months straight, nothing's going to happen after the first couple weeks to the first month or two. That's really the window where you're going to get anything out of whatever you do. If you keep doing the same thing over and over again, your body will adapt, and then it will stop causing changes, right? And that's, in essence, a plateau. It's where your body has adapted to the stressor. It's no longer a stressor. Your body's like, I got this. It's no problem anymore. So nothing good is going to happen. So nothing happens. Your body has adjusted to it. It is no longer providing any kind of change. So what you have to do with these plateaus, like I said, after the first couple weeks, you see some big changes, and that's really like a freebie. Because after that, you're going to start earning the stuff. If you want to make progress continually, in a rate of progress, there are actual measurement, there are goals and milestones that you should be striving for, and most people don't understand what they are. This is standard. You should be making, if you're talking about weight loss, you should be losing like a minimum of 1 to 2 pounds a week, every week during your program, whatever program you're on. If it's body fat percentage, you're talking about at least 1% body fat percentage a week. So you should be dropping 1% of body fat every week. So that's 4% a month. Now in my program, I try to get up to 10% in a month. So, if you're not actually hitting those kind of numbers, you're not tracking, you're not doing stuff that's effective. Like you should be hitting at least those minimum numbers, okay? So when that doesn't happen, you seriously need to reevaluate what's going on. You got to kind of refocus, change the challenge, and you got to step up with the nutrition plan. Make sure you're getting closer to optimal on the exercise. Everything has to continually step forward, both the food, your lifestyle change and behavior changes, and the exercise. It has to get harder. It has to get more challenging. It has to get different. You've got to reshock your body every couple weeks, change it up so your body continues to adapt, because you don't want to get in a comfortable place. Okay, so your comfort zone is the death of progress, right? Mediocrity is the death, the death of greatness. And so you'll never attain any kind of really big goals when you operate in your comfort zone. So the comfort zone is where I'm going to go out and walk, do my 20-minute walk I've been doing for the last year straight. I've seen people at the gym, they'll go to a, whatever gym. I used to work at a variety of different gyms a few years ago, and one of them was the big gym, Smith Fitness Center on Fort Benning. I was there for almost 5 years as a trainer and a boot camp instructor, and I would see these people come in every single day, get on the treadmill, walk for the same exact amount of time, never looking like they were breaking a sweat, day in and day out, year after year, and they never looked any different, and they never did anything different. They were just like, you knew exactly that Fred was going to be on treadmill number 3, level 1 for 20 minutes at a snail's pace every day of the week for the next, you watched him year after year, and nothing ever happened. So I used to go tell him, hey, there's actually a better way to spend your time where you can actually get something out of it instead of just, and they're like, no, I'm good, because that was their comfort zone. They were comfortable. They thought they were doing something. It made them feel good mentally because, I did my gym workout. And of course, they really weren't doing anything because their body had stopped responding to that, years ago, right? If you've been doing something for a couple of years, it's way overdue for a change. So what happens is you hit that plateau, and all of a sudden, the more you stay in that plateau and the more you keep everything around that comfort zone of that plateau, you're going to stay there indefinitely, right? Your body wants to stay there. And you got to understand that it's your job to break your body out of that comfort zone, out of that plateau, to get to the next level, to continue to make progress. If you don't, you might as well forget it. You'll never get there. And then what people do when they don't understand the cycle that you go through is you get fired up, you start a program, a few weeks or a month into it, making some big progress, you're all happy, everything's fired up, and then boom, it starts tapering off, right? Well, you're still doing all the stuff you did last month. You're still going to the gym, you're doing your exercises, you're eating your food, but nothing's happening anymore. You notice like the scale ain't moving, nothing's really changing in the mirror. Then you start getting doubt, you start doubting, you start having negative thoughts. You start getting bummed out and depressed because it's not working anymore. What happened? And then people invariably, they'll make a couple mistakes, right? Well, I was eating one meal a day, so I guess I got to cut back. I'm eating too much. So I cut it back to half a meal a day, right? And then I was doing 20 minutes of cardio, so maybe I should do an hour of cardio now, right? So now that, is going to cause a change for, a little while. And then it's going to plateau again. And then once you get to this point, the starvation and doing more cardio thing, there's a period where that becomes untenable, right? That becomes untenable. Like when you get down to like, well, I'm at half a meal and I better cut back because OMG, I'm eating too much, right? Because all people know is eat less and exercise more. And if you keep doing that and your body keeps adapting to it, like it doesn't work, right? You can't starve yourself and do more exercise and expect anything good to happen, because the end state is, regardless of what anybody tells you, your body needs the right amount of the right stuff at the right time to support your health and your goals, okay? So you're eating for fitness and you're eating for, the specific goals that you set for yourself, right? So, what kind of madness is it when you keep cutting back on calories? Most people, honestly, aren't overeating. They're undereating. They're not eating the right amount of good whole foods, and they overeat processed garbage foods, right? So once you cut out the processed garbage foods and you start eating real food, then they're undereating, right? Because to get your calorie requirements from like broccoli, baked chicken, and raw almonds, you gotta eat a lot, okay? And most people just can't handle it. So whereas, you could get 2,000 calories in a fast food meal at one sitting, if you have, broccoli, kale, spinach, some fruit, some mixed nuts, and a piece of meat, or some eggs or something, or some fish, you got to eat tons and tons and tons of that to equate the same kind of calorie count, right? So there's no way you can compare the two. That's why when you're dieting, you can't, if you're thinking about fast food or junk food or processed food, everything that I talk about when I'm talking about calorie eating and how difficult it is, it's talking about eating whole, real foods. If I put a bowl of raw broccoli in front of you, you are not going to be able to overeat it, okay? You're not going to like, oh man, I ate too much broccoli. It's, almost impossible, like for the average person, right? If I put a big bushel of kale and spinach leaves in front of you, and I say, go to town, man, you can eat as much as you want, and you're like, oh, I'm going to overeat, I got to watch out. You can't possibly eat too much. Same thing, go ahead and put a pile of, mixed nuts, almonds, baked chicken breasts, a big stack in front of you, right, and just go to town on it. see how much you can eat. You won't be able to eat that much of it because, number one, real whole foods are satiating. Real whole foods fill you up quick. And, it's like unbelievable the difference between eating like a fast food meal that's like 2,500 calories and then, a sizable, big, whole food, really healthy meal that might be 300 calories. And you're like, wow, there's no way you can compare the two. So when you're talking about nutrition and fitness, talking about whole nutrition, not eating garbage food. You can't rationalize fast food, junk food, processed foods into a nutrition program other than a cheat meal, right? And that cheat meal needs to be earned. It's something you have to, actually go and do what you're supposed to do all week, and then maybe you deserve a cheat meal at a certain point in time once you've started achieving your goals. People like to get, I've worked hard this week, I haven't made any progress, but I'm going to have that gigantic cheat day, and they go kill it and undo all of the last 2 weeks of hard work in one day's work right at a fast food place. So you got to be careful and make sure you understand. You got to earn everything. If you don't talk about earning stuff, if you don't have the mindset for it, you're not going to make progress. So, the plateau thing is a natural occurrence. It's normal. And to break it, you have to step forward. And you got to realize every time you step forward, it means more work. You're going to be sore. You're going to be tired. It's not going to be comfortable. If you're doing it right, you're not going to be comfortable. Stepping outside the comfort zone is where all greatness occurs, okay? So you got to get outside the comfort zone. You got to break the plateaus. In my program, the way I train people, we stay ahead of plateaus. I try not to let you reach the plateau. Once you start, at a certain point in time, we change things up, even if you're still doing good, we switch it up periodically every week or two and make it harder, make it faster, make it longer, make it shorter, more intense. Change things up, change the variables, change the type of exercises, and really keep the challenging demand on your body so that you're continually challenged, you're never adapting, you're constantly struggling to get ahead, and your body is just freaking out and reacting, burning fat, building muscle, which makes you look better, feel better, and perform better, right? And, as a side result, you get healthier. So that's how I try to do it, because if you know it's going to come, why let it happen? You don't want to sit there and let a plateau occur and then have to go through the whole rigmarole trying to break it, because it's more painful. If you stay ahead of it and just incrementally increase your variables and change things as you go along, you will stay ahead of the plateaus, you will break them, and you won't have to break them, you'll stay ahead of them, and you'll just continue to adapt and advance, right? So if your body is continually used to the struggle, it will continue to make progress. Once it gets comfortable, it's all over. If you take a break, you're going to plateau, right? If you go, more 72 to 96 hours, more than that, basically a 4-day weekend. If you take a 4-day weekend off, you had better hit the ground running, when that 4-day weekend is over. Because if you do more than that, in 2 weeks' time, in a week's time, you can lose. It takes you so long to get progress, like with weightlifting. You finally build up to a certain weight. You can do 5 reps with it. If you're really happy, you're making good progress, and boom, you take a long weekend, something happens, throws you off your schedule. You take a week and a half off and then go in and try to get that 5 reps with that same weight, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. And then trying to get that back, it's going to be probably another week or two of hard eating and hard training. That's what a waste of time to have to keep doing that kind of stuff, right? So you want to minimize that and just keep consistent, keep rocking, and keep it difficult, keep it challenging, and continue to make progress, okay? So that's about the extent of doing the plateau thing. Just realize it's going to happen, and if you stay on it, you'll be fine. You don't have to go into a plateau. If you do, just realize you're going to have to do some work to get out of it, okay? And that's what it takes. You got to do the work to break the plateau. It's hard work. Okay, so the next thing we want to talk about is there's a variety of modern scientific studies that have come out talking about creatine, which is a supplement, right? It's also a naturally occurring substance in your body as part of the your ATP cycle, one of your metabolic energy pathways. And this thing is studies have come out talking about, you know, its use with senior citizens, like older adults, seniors, and you know, should older adults be taking this stuff? And what the science has shown, now keep in mind, creatine is a supplement that I've been taking since roughly, let's say, like 1997-ish. I actually did a study with the Army when I was with the Ranger Training Brigade on creatine, and you know, creatine is awesome stuff. And it's really come a long way as far as like the advancement in the processing that how they've created creatine. And what creatine generally does is it makes you stronger. It increases your muscle mass, it increases your strength. And but science has shown through there's hundreds of studies on creatine now. It is actually the most studied supplement of them all. And you can find all kinds of stuff. Now a lot of people try to, you know, bring the hate against creatine, but I'm not, like I said, you know, since about 97 I've been using creatine monohydrate, and it is just amazing stuff. And what science has recently shown in the last couple years is that there's a growing number of studies that shows that older adults really benefit from taking creatine whether they exercise or not, right? So you can imagine older adults taking this stuff. Not only does it build muscle, make you stronger, increase your overall health, increase your recovery rates, just make you physically better. But what they found now is not only does it help with your joints, but it also has a lot of brain health and cognitive benefits for older people. So like, you know, to put off diseases like, you know, all these different ailments that certain people get, like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and all kinds of other things. They're looking into how these things affect, you know, the creatine, which is a naturally occurring substance in your body, part of your metabolic energy pathway. You know, this is when you supplement it, creatine just does great stuff for you. And so it makes your brain healthier, it makes your body stronger. You know, I've taken it for, like I said, decades, and, you know, it does great stuff for me. And when it first came out, it was kind of rough because they didn't have, you know, when you first create something, you know, there's a trial and error period. When they first came out, it used to cause a lot of water retention because it used to cause a lot of water retention at cellular level, you know. And so then they modified the formula over the years, and they did away with that, so there was no water retention. And so now you can take creatine and virtually have no side effects other than getting strong, lean, looking better, feeling better, and just being more powerful, more energetic, and thinking clearer with more mental sharpness, right? So older adults, if you're having problems and you can't just, you know, energy, strength, stamina, mental clarity, mental cognitive functioning, if you're just not as sharp as you used to be and you want to see, it's worth trying. You know, of course, check with your doctor, right? And your doctor will probably not approve because, you know, it's a supplement and they don't know anything about it. And so the big thing you want to do is you got to figure out, is it something that's going to benefit you? And there's only one way you can do it, right? If you don't have any contraindications, it's worth giving it a shot if you're medically cleared to do so, right? I would recommend everybody give it a try because, you know, just for the cognitive benefit, to have mental clarity, to be sharper. You know, as we get older, we need every advantage we can get. And this is naturally occurring stuff. This is good, healthy stuff. Science supports its use for seniors and everybody. And it's one of those things like everybody should use. So I recommend it. It works great for me. And I'm not getting any younger, you know. So it's like, I'm going to keep taking it. I snort that stuff, right? And so I'm going to keep taking it. But, you know, the recent science supports older adults using creatine is a go. All right? So like I said, keep that in mind and give it a try. It really can't hurt anything. Next thing, talking about older adults. So while you're taking creatine, you should be working out, obviously, right? And, you know, everybody always talks about cardiovascular health. You got to do your cardio, do your aerobics. You know, you got to do at least 150 minutes of aerobics a week. That's what the doctors tell you, you know, because doctors are exercise specialists, right? And no, they're not, okay? So what you really need to be doing as a senior is doing weight bearing and resistance training. Weight bearing exercises and resistance training. That is what the most bang for the buck thing for an older adult is. You need to lift weights. You need resistance. You need weight bearing. You need to be on your body, putting weight on your joints. Okay, that's what keeps your bones strong. Okay, you need to be eating good. And, you know, if you're taking creatine and eating good and doing all kind of challenging exercise, you're going to be, you know, energetic. You're going to be mobile. You know, you're going to be independent. And you're going to be with mental clarity. You're going to be able to think and execute, you know, daily activities like a younger person. And that's how these people do it, you know. So one of the big things is you've got to figure out, you know, what kind of weight-bearing exercises can you do based on your, you know, if you have limitations, injuries, or whatnot. Once again, check with your doctor, but you need to do something more than walking on a treadmill or walking in the park. That's fine, but there needs to be some type of exercise, okay? And it needs to be resistance-based and weight-bearing, okay? So, you know, weights are great things. Weights for older adults, creatine and weights. Do it, okay? Hit the weights, take your creatine, get tons of protein, you know, eat whole natural foods, right? And stay away from the processed foods, the garbage foods, junk foods, right? And you will be in a place that's much better than if you don't, okay? Aging, you know, aging is, the detrimental effects of aging happen when you don't do what you're supposed to be doing, which is taking care of your body and your mind, right? So, those things are all supported by science. You know, the current science says yes. Now, I'm a specialist in seniors fitness. I'm a fitness nutrition specialist. Not only do I use my own experiences, but my experiences with hundreds of clients over the last 30 years and the current scientific studies that are coming out across all of the big journals. You know, seniors should be hitting the weights, using creatine, staying active, eating good, so that you look better, feel better, and perform better, and have the cognitive abilities of a younger person, okay? You don't have to be old. Age is a number. You know, you're as old as you feel. You're as old as you let yourself get. You know, I might be 100, but I'm going down fighting. I'm going to be taking my creatine, lifting weights, jacking steel for sex appeal, and I'm not going to quit, you know, and you shouldn't either. You got to do the work if you want to be in the fight for the longest time. You know, you got to do what you got to do. So, creatine and weights for the older adults. Sounds crazy. Science says it's a go. I'm telling you it's a go, all right? Decades of experience training older adults. The change, the speed at which you start, reversing the aging process. You know, you start getting more energy. You start looking better. You start feeling better. You start being more energetic. Daily life activities. You start being able to move around. I mean, it's amazing what you see some of my old clients do. Once they started eating good, you know, eating, and I'm not talking about starving, I'm talking about eating. Eating good, getting in their protein, getting in their creatine, hitting the weights. Man, next thing you know, they're skipping around like a young kid. And it's really, really been amazing. So, that's the only thing keeping me going. If I wasn't doing all that, I'd be done with all my old Army injuries and whatnot. So, you know, hit the weights, take your creatine, eat your real food, get your protein in, stay active, all right? So the last thing we want to talk about is meal timing has been a source of debate for a long time. You know, your typical thing, right? You got your 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then you got, you know, the thing that evolved from that was basically breakfast, lunch, and dinner with snacks in between, you know, like, in between breakfast and lunch, you had a snack. In between lunch and dinner, you had a snack. So 3 meals and 2 snacks. And then the next thing came about, like the old bodybuilder methods. The bodybuilder methods, like every 2.5 to 3 hours, you eat a meal. Small, frequent meals. And then we evolved into, intermittent fasting became popular, right? Intermittent fasting. So now you're going for a fasting window where you're not eating at all. And then you go for a feeding window where you eat during certain parts of the day. Doesn't matter how many meals, you know, intermittent fasting basically has done away with the meal timing other than the windows, right? You fast for a certain period, then you eat during a certain period. So meal timing, you know, the old bodybuilder method, which works, is every 2.5 to 3 hours. It's supposed to raise your metabolism, keep your body, you know, primed with good fuels from protein, fat, and carbohydrates. That works. Here's the thing, all of them work. It doesn't matter, right? But the latest study where they took a group and they had them eat at 1 p.m., 4 p.m., and 8 p.m., or they had them eat at, I think it was 8 a.m., 1 p.m., and then 8 p.m., they had those two groups and they fed them the exact same food, the exact same amounts, exact same protein, fats, and carbohydrates, and they were doing the exact same exercise routine. And then after 8 weeks, the 1 p.m., 4 p.m., and 8 p.m. people lost twice as much body fat as the other group. Okay, so that was like the afternoon group. So that meant they fasted from when they got up in the morning, all morning, right, plus all night. So they had a pretty big fasting window, and their feeding window was in the afternoon and evening. And then they stopped again, so they basically fasted from 8 p.m. all the way to 1 p.m. the next day. So that's a pretty big fasting window. So that goes along the fasting windows that I follow. I follow the 16-8 fasting method. And, you know, that's another proven thing. The intermittent fasting works. The bottom line is, if it's not working for you, then you need to go ahead and, you know, make some kind of adjustment and start making it happen, right? Because any of the meal timings works, but this latest study did show that the afternoon and evening, early evening meal times were more effective for fat loss, okay? And the bottom line is eat the right amount of the right stuff at the right time and make sure you're getting your food in. Hit the weights, take your creatine, and be strong in mind, body, and spirit.
Well, I know. I just got back from, I have a plateau, and I went over and, you know, I was trying to decide whether I should eat, what is it, creatine? Creatine, and I'm not sure what kind of exercise to do, and also, I just had a meal, so I'm sorry I missed we had some technical issues on that. You know, the one thing that's interesting too is that about health, and I just really want to bring this up for a second because, well, you know,
right.
I went and got my eyes checked yesterday. Pat and I, our annual eye check.
That's good.
And 2 years ago, I went to Precision Optical, not a paid advertisement, they are fine people, but went to Precision Optical on the 17th, and the doctor, you know, their ophthalmologist, an actual doctor, looked at the back of my eyes in the test and said, you have, I have diabetes, said you have, I could see diabetic damage to the back of your eyes.
Wow.
That was, but it's early stages. So he said, I said, where's this going? Blindness.
Yeah.
Well, 2 years later,